Hi folks, so it's about 20 to 6. It is 9:20 Saturday, 71.0 degrees, 70 degrees. Sun's off my battery so they're not fully charged, and 20.3 centigrade. So still Saturday. Let's see, a couple of things. First of all, the weather, it went from cloudy and kind of crappy, humid to now the sky has really cleared. There's supposed to be a fight between a cold front of Canadian, nice dry air, and a warm front from down south. So we'll see what comes to be. Supposedly when those two fronts hit each other, they're going to give us some rain tonight, but it looks like squeezing through. Looks like it's clearing up, so I think not. Anyway, it was interesting going up to Massachusetts. Some of the leaves had changed. You can see here where I am, generally speaking, there's kind of a little yellow there, but generally speaking, the leaves are still quite green. So if anybody wants to come to the Hudson Valley of New York to look at leaves, you're a little too soon. Alright, well, let's show you where I'm at. Fire this puppy up. See if I could do it without setting myself ablaze. So, she runs and she moves. I'm gonna have to welcome, I decided to count the deer in next year's batch. So, that makes this Miss March. Just a few things. So it starts, obviously it runs, it moves, The carburetor, you guys remember the 200X I had out back that I was putting a 200S motor on, an ATC 200 motor on. Well, I took the carburetor off of that and I rebuilt it because see all this powder, all that, including this here, all that came from the inside of that carburetor. It's a brand new carb. I obviously left it sitting there with some gas in it and it went nasty. Here's the carb out of that bike. I had a bear of a time getting it off, and the cable is, you can see it's seized. It's got some damage right here. Looks like it melted somehow, and it's rusty. I can probably break it loose, but if one has a bike with no brakes, it's not really a good idea to take it the next step out into stupidity land and do something like have a sticky throttle also, right? That's how you crash, and crash good. I mean, when I just brought it in for this landing, I got it into neutral, but even with that, it wasn't stopping unless I put my foot out. By the way, they did a good job on that hip, huh? It's beginning to be used as an emergency brake now. So, anyway, starts, runs, moves. I didn't notice if the tail light was on or not. I don't know if you guys did. I'll have to look at the tape to see if at any point you guys could get a shot of the tail light. The headlight was not on. The headlight was not on. So, I didn't try high and low with the headlight. I just had it on low. I guess I could try to fire it up now and see if the headlight works. Sorry for the wind, guys. So there it is. Looks like the back tires. That one looks good. That one looks good. The front tire, after I put air in it, went flat, but it was leaking at the Schrade valve. Schrader, whatever you call it, Schrade, I think, valve. What I did is I put a cap on it. I don't know, could you guys see the black cap on there? So we'll see if it still has air in the morning. What else is there to tell you? The recoil starter has a compression release on it. I told you guys all about that. And where'd I put it? Okay, where'd I lose it? Oh, here it is. And it appears as if the compression release is making it so it's not retracting properly. So I got to take it apart and spend a few minutes with it. There was some water in here. You can see the rust. So I need to do something with that. And that carburetor, I just kind of cleaned out the bowl and all. I didn't bother messing with the jets. I sprayed some carb cleaner through it quick, but I really didn't mess with the jets. So tomorrow I'll give the carburetor a proper rebuild. I went to my hoard. I have a little hoard of carburetors, and I was going to slam a brand new one on there, but I said to myself, you know, homie, you got all these bikes with carbs on them floating around, so you should, as a matter of fact, this one looked interesting. This carb is a standard. It's kind of a bigger bore carburetor. It's like for a 250 standard. The rest of it's standard, except it's got a fuel pump on it. So as you give it gas, right, as this pulls up, anyway, it's supposed to somehow engage the fuel pump. Yeah, there it is. You can kind of see, right, the fuel pump squeezes down a little bit. So, and it's a Kevin. The quite sure. I bought it new, obviously. I got the box and I got the carb. I've not used it. At least it doesn't smell like I used it. So that's an interesting carb. I think I bought this carb. I think I bought it for the Cushman. I was going to work on a mount and put it on that guy, and I felt like because of the 2 cylinders, I needed a fuel pump, though it doesn't look like very much of a fuel pump, to be quite honest with you. I'm not sure about how much carburation 2 cylinders needs. I don't know if, to some extent, it's almost like a 2-cycle, where a 2-cycle single cylinder, every other time, right, you bang. With the 4-stroke, 4-cycle, you got to go, every 4th shot is a bang. So when you have a 2-cylinder, you hit this one, nothing, right? This one's coming up on compressor. You know, basically, it's almost like a 2-cylinder. You're hitting each one, right? But you are skipping a cycle. So I think that that a carburetor that would feed a single cylinder on a 2-cylinder would work, because you're only feeding 1 cylinder kind of at a time, right? So that's my theory, and that's why I got that carb, and I was going to bolt it on here, but I got the carb on here to work, so I'm all happy with this. Alright guys, I'm tired. You could see it took me approximately 2 hours to get it running and take it for its first ride. Obviously, if I would have used one of these bolt-on carburetors, I probably could have saved, you know, an hour. So it probably would have taken me, instead of 2 hours, it probably would have taken me 1 hour. I also messed with the plug a little bit. If I would have not bothered checking it for spark and all, I probably could have just put my portable ignition on it, slammed the carburetor on it, and literally had it running in 45 minutes or an hour, maybe even a half hour, who knows. Alright guys, thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, thanks for subscribing. We'll catch you up on the next episode of The Horde. Till then, you know, tires down, handlebars up, and enjoy your days. Take care now.